Today, we're gonna see if we can get status updates in our Comfy network. The Azure Active Directory B2C, which is what we're using for the Comfy network, is this whole service. It lets you add a login to any website or any web app or any single page app, any mobile app, pretty much anything you'd ever want. It's like an identity service. It's the login service, authentication, without having to write any sort of code on the back end. You don't have to set up a database. You don't have to worry about all the security things because they handle it all for you. And so that's what we got set up last time. Today, we're gonna add the status updates so that we can see what everyone's been up to. We have a guest coming on from the Azure team, the Active Directory team. They're gonna chat with us and talk about 425 show for a little while. This is John from the 425 show. Thank you for sponsoring our stream today. I'm so excited. John works on the Microsoft Azure's Identity Active Directory team. The service that we use is the Azure's Active Directory B2C. The regular, like the enterprise Azure Active Directory service. That's what the B2C is built on, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so if you're building an app for people who work for you, like at a company and you're in an organization, that's what Azure AD proper, if you want to call it that, that's what it's for. I want to access somebody's email or send an email from my app or send a Teams chat message or something. That all uses regular Azure AD. Or if I just want to sign somebody in to my app, like if I'm building something for managing my expenses at work, I would sign in with Azure AD. But if I'm building something that people all across the internet are going to use or my customers are going to use, people who aren't necessarily my organization, that's where B2C comes in. Because B2C is just create a new username and password or use a social account or kind of come as you are, bring us an account you've already got and we'll get you signed in so that you can use the app somebody built.
What we did last time was we used that to build and get started on the Comfy network, which lets you authenticate, log in using your Twitch account. And the cool part is we don't have a backend or anything. We didn't have to set up a database. We didn't have to set up a server. We just hooked it up to the Azure Active Directory B2C and then people could log in and be like, all right, I want to log in with Twitch.
Yeah.
And voila. Today we're adding, I think it's called the extension attributes.
Oh, cool.
And so, sweet, I got it right. And so what that lets you do is you can add up to, it was like 100 different custom properties to an account. We're gonna use that to do a status attribute, but you can have anything. You can have timestamps, different like special anniversary birthdays, or you can have text up to like 256 characters. You could have it for special identifiers of a login. So it's like, this is the customer loyalty ID. Anything like that you can store on top of the regular built-in properties like the name and email address and all of that stuff. It makes it pretty easy for us to just be like, oh yeah, we're gonna create the service and everything and not even have to have a backend.
Yeah, you don't have to deal with passwords and password reset. Now you're not on the hook to store that. We store it for you and we secure our data centers and our facilities. The identity services sort of run around the world too. So you don't have to run any servers. All you do really is use the service. And most of our libraries for different languages and platforms that you want to integrate with, instead of needing to be like an identity expert, we really tried to make them pretty simple to use. So you don't have to be an identity pro to know how they work. You just need to know how the specific library works and then away you go.
Cool. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, no sweat.
All right, thank you so much. Bye, John. So let me show you what the Comfy network looks like right now. If you go to instafluff.tv/Comfy network, then you'll actually see it live. What we can do is you can click sign in. Now it shows me as logged in with the user and the accounts. You can see my name is instafluff, the user. These are the different profile attributes. I got the city and the country. So this is the status attribute that we added last time. We were going to get the extension status for a bunch of accounts after we sign in. And then we're going to create a Comfy feed. And so that should be pretty cool. All right, I hope you're ready for this. Here's the Comfy network that we had so far. Here's our website. We have to go to our app registration to get a list of the users. What we want to do is we want to get the profile edits and get the status. I guess we should add that in first, where people can update their profile and then go back to the Comfy network. So let me go back to here and go to the user flows. And instead of just login, we're going to have a profile edit. I don't think we added that yet. Let me see. Bam. So I'm gonna run it, nodemon. So now this is gonna run locally. It's on port 20826. 20826. Kabam. There it is. Here's our version of our Comfy network right here. And then I click sign in. Oh, I broke something. User read, its request is not supported. I don't think I have the latest version. I broke it again. Oh, in the auth.read, we had user.read. Auth config, user.read. It's not an actual permission. That doesn't exist. Here we go, policies. Okay, so now If I refresh this, then I can click sign in. Voila! InstaFluff, the user has signed in. Here it is. And I got the extension status, send ice cream please. So let me see. If I run this, then theoretically it should show just the status. Ah! It worked! So now if I do localhost like this, and I sign in, ooh, now it's gotta update my status. It's working, folks. The next thing we're gonna do, and this is the big part of what we need to finish, is getting all of the user statuses in here. So then we'll be able to see it in a kind of like a newsfeed format in here. This is the extension API, the thing that we're gonna need to use to get the statuses. And so we're gonna create it on this backend here. Const web equals wire and web.run const app ID extension. It's going to be, oh, holy smokes. Thank you so much for the support for 20 whole months. What we're gonna do is we're gonna host a backend to do it, but eventually we can also have this run on a serverless function. And so we might be able to do that eventually too. First, we need to have the graph API call. So we need to use that client secret, which means I need to install .env, npm install .env, so that I can pull in the client secret and all the passwords that are in the .env file. To do that, to initialize it, we've done this so many times that now I just remembered. Require .env and then .config. And that's it. Let's put that at the very top. That means we can use process.env.client secret like this. That's what we're gonna need to use. Okay, we need two more things. We need the tenant ID, const tenant. This is so hard to remember. How do I type this? Tenant ID. Why can't I spell anything? Here we go. And application ID. This is the app ID of not the extension, but just the regular app ID. And this is gonna be the client secret. App secret. Client secret. Perfect. This is gonna be so good. Holy smokes. If you guys want to update your status in the meantime, this is the webpage. This is actually live right now, so you can actually sign in with your Twitch account and update your status, and it grabs your Twitch account, display name and everything, and you can do all of that stuff. It's pretty cool. We got this up and running. There's no server or anything that holds your passwords or authentication or anything. It's all done through the Azure's Active Directory service, which means that they keep it super secure. They do all the verification, the two-factor authentication, all of that stuff, so that we don't have to worry about it. We don't have to worry about getting hacked. That makes this really awesome. This is what we need next. We need to get an access token. We get this token response thing, and I want to know if this worked. I can just open a second window that goes to the company network. npm install node fetch, because I want to make the web request call. And so that's what we needed. Now we can do fetch, because we got to make fetch happen, folks. We got to always make fetch happen. There we go. In web or web, it gets the query string and then the body and the options. And in here, we're going to need to do an await fetch. What was the URL for this? Is this with the tenant? Ah, perfect. So we use the tenant ID here and we pass it in like this, and it needs to be a post call. So we'll say the method is post. I think we have to add in some headers. The headers was content type. We're gonna need to pass in a content type, and we need to pass in some other things too. So content type is this, and we pass in a body. This is the data that we're gonna be passing in. The data that we pass in is like this. Client ID and all this other stuff. Wow. The client ID is the app ID, if I remember this right. Wow. App ID. The client secret is gonna be our client secrets. App secret. Grant client credentials. Perfect. And r.json, because it returns a JSON object. And then we're just gonna return this. I think we got it. I'll give you a preview without the entire token. Here's what it looks like. Expires in and extension expires in. So it's basically you get an hour. You get a token that's valid for about an hour. And so we can save this access token. This is the format of what it looks like. This is actually quite perfect, because this means that we can use this token for about an hour and we'll be able to keep using it. And so we're gonna do token is gonna be equal to this, and we're gonna save out the token, and then we save results. All right, this is perfect. And so now we'll do an API call. We're gonna call it users, and then we'll do QS body ops. I'm gonna put this token thing in a separate function. I'm gonna create a separate function called async function get token, and then put that in here, and then return here we'll just do result equals get token, and then return it. Return await get token. Perfect. Return token. Yeah, that's fine. Now that we have the token, we have to check if the token has expired. When we get the token, we need to save the current time. We need to timestamp it. I'm gonna do timestamp equals date.now. I think this will work. It worked. We do time since token is going to be equal to date.now minus, the token might not actually have been set, so we're going to do token.timestamp or 0. If token.expires_in or time since token is greater than token.expires_in, then we have to get a new token, so we'll do await get token. Yeah. Perfect. This is gonna work. We got the token and that works. Now we have to use the graph API like this. This is the user ID. That's the user GUID, the unique identifier. So instead, we're gonna just get all of the users this way. Let result equal await fetch. That's the user API. We can get the users like this. We need the authorization and the token, and it's a get request. So all we need to do is add a header. This is authorization. I have to make sure that I spell it right. And this is going to be bearer, and then we put in the token. So this is going to be access_token. And so that's what we pass in. And then we do then R. And then it returns a JSON object. And then we're gonna return the result. With that, we should be able to see the result. I think it worked. Okay, check it out. It's working. That moment when you hit run after coding for 15 minutes straight and it works, and then you're just like, I have hit Code of Honor. We got the users in here. We got Mary Jo. We got InstaFluff. That's me. We got Lily. We got Simrose. We got Airstick Mammal. We got Wapolia. Heck yeah. Let's see if we can create a list out of the users. And then the last part is we're going to have to get everyone's statuses. Now we can pull in the users of our company network as a JSON object here. We want to pull that into the web page and show it as a list here. So we pull in the result and then we send in the values, or a value. That's the array, because now we get the full array of all the users and everything. So we get the users. It doesn't have the status in here yet. So I'll show you guys how we can do that in a bit. First, we're going to need to get the users in here and then show them in the page. We're going to create a script, close the script, and then we do async function, this, and run it. Await fetch the URL. API URL is going to be http localhost 20826. So right now this isn't on a server anywhere, but it will be soon. So here we're going to do API URL and then /users r.json. So now this will give us the user list, and let's print this out. Users. Okay, this should work. We got the users in here. It's working. We got the display name and everything. So now we're gonna create an entire list of it. This is the card. We'll put a list of folks in here. UL, close the URL. This is unordered list. ID will be user list. I'm gonna test this out. This is gonna look like test user list. We can stylize this in a little bit. For each of these users, we do U for user, display name. Now what we can do is we can update people's status, so then we know how everyone's feeling, what they're up to. This is the start of our very own little mini social network. We got the list of users, which is here. So from the users list, we need to append. Did we add jQuery? I guess there's an easy way to check. There's jQuery. Okay, so we can use jQuery. So we can do the ID is user list, and then we do append, and we're gonna append a list item with the display name and close the list item, and that should be it. And then oh, look, it's working. Why is it all over on the left side? That should be fine. Now the next thing we need to do is we have to get the custom extension attribute that we added called extension_status, and we need to put that in here. We're gonna need the display name, the ID, the extension attribute, and I think that's it. It's like select, and select equals ID, display name. Let me see if that worked. I don't even know how I remember this. Oh snap. Here's the key part. We have to do extension_status, right? If we do that, it's not going to show up yet, because when you want to select this, we actually need the extension app ID. The extension app ID is, if you go here and when you create an app registration, we made Comfy Network, then we made this to support the custom user attributes. It creates a secondary app for you automatically called B2C extensions app right here. So if you go here, this is where all of the extension stuff is stored. So we use this and we copy that to the clipboard, and then we have to put that in this format, extension underscore and then app ID extension underscore and then the status, because that's what we call the attribute. I'll show you. In the user attributes, we created a custom one called status. See, it's a custom, we call it latest status, and that's what we store in here. It's a string of up to 256 characters. Let me see, I'm gonna refresh. Oh, I gotta fix it. What did I break? Maybe the app ID extension is wrong. I know what's wrong. It needs to get rid of the dashes in between. Let's get rid of all of the dashes by using a regular expression for the dashes, G for global for every single dash in there. And then we're gonna replace it with empty. And then, oh, look, Lily's status says, hey there. This is so cool. We got Lily's extension in here. We got Portal Gaming's extension in there. And Honeypuff's extension in here. Oh yeah, we got the statuses. This is awesome. I'll do this. Status field is this. And then we can put in the status field like that in here. And this will be status field, which will be like this. Yeah, check this out. It leaves the extension thing in, but that's fine. We don't mind that. With that, are you ready? I think we just have to do one last thing on our page, which is we gotta add in the status. And so we'll do display name, and then we'll do a dash, and then u.status like this. Whoopee! Here we go. Oh, look at that. We got statuses. Check it out. From Former says Bravo 6 going dark. Wave says doing okay. And Lucas says hey there. And Simrose says Simrose is comfy. Portal Gaming is finally affiliate. Thanks and fluffs for the shout out. Honeypop says follow Twitch stuff. Oh, thank you, Honeypop. It's working. We have a comfy network that lets us see all the statuses of everyone. There's our newsfeed. This is so awesome. We could look up everyone's user profile pictures, so we could put it next to that, and we could do a lot more with this. Wow, this is cool. This is super awesome. I can't believe it's starting to work. Can you believe that we did this in 2 streams? We got a Twitch login working without having to set up a secure backend and database or anything. And then today we got update the status. We got the status as an entire newsfeed list, and we can get it through this API right here now. I need to put this backend API that grabs the list of users and everything onto either a server of mine, or we can put it as a microservice on like a serverless function or something. But it's working. It's working. Holy crap.